Welcome to the Leverage Show. Get more from your business and your life. Be sure to share your business questions and challenges with me at leverageshow.com and I'll answer them on future episodes. So today I want to do something a little bit different. I want to share with you 3 business and life lessons from an unlikely source. The book, The Chris Farley Show. Now, this book, first of all, I have to say, I was always a huge Chris Farley fan. I loved his comedy. I just thought he was so funny. I used to see all of his movies and everything else. And what I loved most about him was his vulnerability. You know, as funny as he could be and as slapstick and sometimes silly, he had this obvious vulnerability. And specifically, like if you ever saw the Saturday Night Live skit where he interviews Paul McCartney, and he's like the little overexcited sort of rookie reporter doing the interview. It's just absolutely hilarious. And so I read this book a while back, and then I was going through some of my old stuff, and I found it, and it made me think, you know, as sort of a tribute to him, but also as a way to help entrepreneurs, because I think there's some really good lessons that we can take from it, even though it doesn't really seem to be a business book or have much to do with business at all. There are still some really important lessons that I think that we can take from it. And the first of those is that money, success, and fame will not solve your problems. You know, no matter how much that you accumulate or how successful you become or how great other people think you are, that in and of itself will not help you escape your demons. If there are some things that you are trying to accomplish and, you know, they're for the right reasons and it's just for self-fulfillment, then that's great. But there's no other way around it. You know, it doesn't matter how much stuff you've got or how many people like you. You have to be at peace with yourself, and you have to be able to reconcile and you know, live a life that you feel good about, because at the end of the day, those other things will make everybody else feel like you're super successful and that you've reached the mountaintop and all these other things, and whatever insecurities you've got, they will seem silly to other people, but it won't change who you are as a person. And so the first lesson is really, you know, to be sure to work on yourself and your business. It's, you know, build your business, do whatever it is that you need to do, and feel great about that. I mean, I've always been entrepreneurial and I've always loved that, but you know, it isn't to fill some need or some area in my life where, you know, I have issues that I'm trying to hide or sort of sweep under the rug. And so it's important to face that stuff. It's important to reconcile it, and it may actually be easier to do it before you become, you know, rich or successful or famous, because then there's a lot more pressure. You know, there's a lot of pressure that comes with that, and I think, you know, that was one of the forces that, you know, he struggled with all the time, and it made it really difficult. You know, the book, by the way, if you haven't read it, it's really touching, because it's an awesome account that's sort of told through stories and anecdotes from all of his friends and his family, and his brother wrote it. And so it's very honest. You know, it has some of the good, some of the bad, and some of the ugly, but it really gives you a different side of Chris that a lot of people never saw just from his stage persona, where he was always larger than life and lit up a room or a stage as soon as he walked onto it. The second important lesson is to stay true to what you believe in. You know, unfortunately, in a few of the contractual situations he found himself in, you know, he got stuck doing movies and doing projects that he didn't really believe in. And again, to a lot of people on the outside, you might think, well, geez, you know, what's the big deal? I mean, he was making a lot of money, but he wasn't fulfilled. He wasn't happy. You know, here's a guy who should have had everything and should have been able to sort of call his own shots and be happy about the work that he was doing. I mean, it's about being fulfilled. It's about feeling like the work that we're doing matters and that we really believe in it. And, you know, one of the projects he wanted to take on where he would have actually been able to play a dramatic role in a movie about a character that he loved growing up. He never got a chance to do it because he was contractually obligated to make other movies for the people that he had done some of his earlier movies for. And so it was kind of sad because he struggled with a lot of different things, but then on top of it, he didn't really feel like he had control of his life or control of the decisions in his professional career in the way that he wanted to do it. So it's important to stay true to what you believe in and don't compromise yourself or your principles, willingly for something that you think might make a short-term gain. I don't think in his situation he did it on purpose. I just think he sort of got backed into a corner with it. But if you see an opportunity and you see a chance to take, and here's an easy road. I gotta make a deal that I'm not gonna be happy about, but it's an easier road to get to where I want. Or here's the right road, the one that reconciles with who I am, the one that makes me feel better about who I am and what I'm doing. The longer road is sometimes the better road. The road where you get to stay true to yourself, call the shots, and be who you want to be, because there really is no substitute for your integrity and for who you are. The idea that somehow achieving this, fame or success or whatever is going to overshadow that, it just doesn't work that way. And if you do it on your own terms, and you do it the way that you want to do it, then you're going to be much happier about the end result, even if it takes a little bit longer to get there. I've heard it said over and over again, and the older I've gotten in my life, the more I realize how true it is that, nothing worth having, nothing worth accomplishing comes without a price. If it's that easy, if it comes that easy to you, even if it's something that other people will look up to you for, it probably isn't going to mean as much to you as it might to other people, because it's the stuff that you work for. It's the stuff that you have to have serious intention and put a lot of effort and time into that mean the most, because those are the things that you earned. Those are the things that you deserved. And you feel great about having put in the time and put in the energy to absolutely be able to accomplish that. And then the third lesson is that, relationships are what endure and what matter most in your life. No matter what you accomplish, those are the things that leave, the lasting impression and the lasting mark. The one thing about the book that you can't help but recognize when you go through it is the people's lives that Chris touched. It's unmistakable how much he impacted other people, because what they were willing to do for him and what they went through to be there for him in times where where he needed them, and that shows you, the stories that they tell, it's not all about, when he was on stage making me laugh. It's little stuff, but it's stuff that he always did that showed that he cared. And everybody that knew him said he had a huge heart and would do anything for anybody that he cared about. And that's a rare thing. That's a really rare thing in life in general, but especially for somebody who didn't need to. He had risen above that. He could have been egotistical. He could have been elitist. He could have been like, oh, you're not worth my time. I'm bigger than all that. But that stuff never went to his head. He was always a real guy. And that comes through really loud and clear in the book. And when you look back and you read other people's memories and their stories about him, you think to yourself, geez, this is the way I'd want to be remembered. I'd want people to tell stories like this about me, and not just some producer telling the story about how I made people laugh, but these genuine stories about being a real person. And so it's the relationships that you form in your life and that are going to endure long beyond where, whatever you accomplish or whatever empire that you build. Touching people's lives is what builds your legacy. And, that can be in a number of different ways. I mean, it can be through your business and it can be through your personal life. But it's the interactions that you have with other people and the way that you impact them and improve them that really, really makes the difference at the end of the day. So I think that, the bottom line is that there's nothing wrong with wanting success and wealth. I mean, I've worked for that my whole life and always wanted it as an entrepreneur, even as a kid when I got my first paper route or set up my first lemonade stand, and even fame for that matter, if that's what you're after. But it's not going to fill a hole in your life, and it isn't and shouldn't be the main purpose in your life. Stand for something bigger. Set out to achieve something meaningful, something, bigger and more important, and all the rest of the stuff will come with it. It's a tragedy that the world lost Chris Farley so young, but his impact and the number of people's lives that he touched along the way and the number of people's lives that he improved and made better is undeniable. And I don't know about you, but for me, I don't think that's a bad legacy. So remember, if you have questions or challenges in your business, share them with me so I can answer them for you on future episodes. And until next time, make it happen.